Hello and welcome to Forever Sports, and it is Christmas Eve. And as such, I thought I would put together a bit of a Rassie's wish list in terms of what would you really like to see next year in 2025 as we continue to progress, continue to start building towards 2027, but also importantly, continue to really maximize the fact that we are currently the dominant rugby side in the world. And I think that's something we shouldn't be taking lightly. You know, at the end of the day, 2027 is always the long-term goal, and then 2031 and the likes of that, and then there's the British Irish Lions series. But we always need to be cognizant of the fact that, you know, when we are so dominant, we need to make it count, you know. And this side's currently one of the greatest sides ever, really, in terms of, you know, now winning rugby championship this year, the World Cup, the same side, majority of the same sides won actually two World Cups, British Irish Lions series, you know, two rugby championships. So this era has been one of the most successful eras in SA history. And we're going to keep that run going. You know, we can't just sacrifice, you know, not competing for the rugby championship, for example, for the sake of blooding new players. And next year poses a very interesting year because we have got Italy coming down and then a once-off test against Georgia. So it's not like an Ireland, for example, this year where, you know, it was a two-match test series. The only emphasis was on winning and trying to, you know, prove that we were a much better side than Ireland, the likes of that. 1-1. You know, a great test series, phenomenal test series, and I'm sure most people would probably like to see something similar next year. But it's quite nice in that we've got three tests where we can potentially maybe rotate a little bit. We can look at maybe giving other players a chance, especially, for example, in the Georgia test. But what do you think would be on Rassie's wish list? Let me know down in the comments below. These are obviously just a couple of things that I've picked out. I'd love to know what you would be adding to the Rassie wish list. But let's have a look exactly, shall we? So this is what I've got for the Christmas wish list. Number one, a fit Sasha. Very worrying signs now of Sasha Famigoma Zulu, who was brilliant for the box. You know, came in and had everything, didn't he? You know, he kicked really well for pole. He was electric with the ball in hand. You know, he's very good defensively, and we kind of saw the future. And Andre Pollard, not to say we're going to sort of get rid, for example, but, you know, we kind of saw the blend of Monty Block and Andre Pollard in the SH Famigama Zulu. And we also saw, you know, that he is young and he's raw, for example. And I think, you know, frustratingly, when he sort of basically said that he didn't really sort of reveal the full extent of an injury, you know, so had to do a bit of a learning curve. But after that, you know, he was out for a while with a knee injury. Then he made his return for the Stormers and he got concussed. Then he came back and now he's got a hip injury or back injury, which found. So he's now picked up, you know, a couple of injuries quite often. And, you know, we're trying to build a team around him, really. And I think the vision is 2027, he will potentially be our starting fly half. And as a result, we need him today and go on a run a game. So if it's Sash, I think it's a very big thing. Tight head props. We were forced to go into our depth this alternation series. And Volkolo, I think, played pretty well. Thomas Tatoya, I think, has really stepped up. But it is a position when we've looked at, for example, the entire squad and the age profiles that needs attention. So when I say tight head props, we need something like Nirti Bashir to continue stepping up. You know, Nasanat and Klavakanya putting his hand up like they have been. But Rassie Erasmus wants competition in that number 3 jersey. He wants to start blooding players because, you know, the older that Frans Malherbe, Vincent Koch get, and the likes, you know, sometimes they can become more injury prone, for example. They might not be able to play as many games in a short space of time. So you've got to start really testing out those stocks. The next thing is a strong Italian side. So whilst we do want to potentially rotate, maybe, you know, looking giving other players chances, we want to be tested, don't we? You know, and going and beating Italy 70, 80, 90 nil doesn't really help anybody. Now, I think Italy's a very strange team because you look at them in the Six Nations and they had a really strong Six Nations season. And they're a side that when they pitch up can compete, but they're also a side that if you get on top of them early and you really squeeze them, they can become really, really poor. So I really hope that when they arrive at South African shores next year, that they're in good nick, they're in full confidence, and they give us a good test. And then we have to sort of dig deep to try and get some decent results because we want to be pushed. You know, we want to make sure that we are progressing against decent sides. Another one is a fully fit Eben Etzebeth. Now, the only reason I put this down is because of what John Plumtree said last week, where he basically said Eben's body is just not quite right at the moment. Now, this is when he starts to get worrying, you know, in terms of not players who, for example, like a Dion Free gets a knee injury, a serious knee injury, yes, but you know what the injury is. You know, there's a long comeback. He sort of ebbed and flowed. Now he made his return. That can sometimes be more straightforward than something like an Eben Etzebeth who I think failed a bit of concussion protocols, and then he said, yeah, there was something wrong with his back, and, you know, got a couple of niggles here. That's where you start to worry a little bit in terms of maybe the body starting to really present the toll of the last 10, 15 years of professional rugby. You know, when you start getting these minor niggles, but lots of them, which start to really sort of keep you out of a match here, there, and the likes of that. So let's hope that he's getting the rest he deserves and, wrap up in cotton wool and then try and get him through the next couple of years. Because when he's fully fit and firing, he's one of the best players in the world. And then the big thing is the Strong Automation series. Two fronts. First of all, we have good results, but I'm really hoping we get good opposition. And I think we will. We haven't played France in a while. So I think we'll probably play France next year. My guess would be a French test in the Automation series. And I'd really like to see an Ireland test as well. I think, if we had like an England-France Ireland, that would be a fantastic end of year tour. I'd also love to see an SAS side go over and play a couple of matches there as well to try and sort of build that depth. So that's kind of what I've gone with Rassie Erasmus and the Christmas vibe. What would you change? What would you add to this list? Let me know down in the comments below. Please do keep safe in during this period. Please smash a like on the video, subscribe to the channel as well, and we'll see you guys very, very soon.